Good to sit there.
You guys good? Good. Good morning. I appreciate you guys coming today.
You guys move the mics down to you. Who's talking? Thanks.
Good afternoon. I appreciate you guys all coming out here today. Today we'd like to announce Larry Police and Lorraine Police the culmination of a 3.5-4 month drug investigation. Seated at the table are Chief Dwayne Whiteley from Elyria, Sergeant James Welsh from Elyria, in charge of the Narcotics Bureau, Detective Christopher Cologne from Lorraine Narcotics Bureau, and I'm Captain Roger Watkins from Lorraine Detective Bureau. Again, this is a 3.5-4 month investigation involving drug trafficking, including heroin and cocaine in the county of Lorraine. This is a joint investigation between the Lorraine Police Department and the Elyria Police Department, also joined in with BCI and Mike DeWine's office. And this time I'd like to turn the microphones over to the two case investigators, Sergeant James Welsh and Detective Chris Cologne.
Good afternoon. As Captain Watkins stated, on Tuesday, March 8th, beginning at 7 o'clock in the morning, and Lorraine Police Narcotics Unit executed 5 search warrants in the cities of Lorraine and Elyria. As a result of those search warrants, 9 persons were arrested, and there's still 5 that have not been taken into custody. The 9 individuals that were arrested are Hugo Lopez, 45 years old, of Lorraine. He was arrested in Florida by the U.S. Marshal Service. Also David Pena, 32, originally of Lorraine. He was also arrested by the Florida U.S. Marshal Service. Rafael Esquelin, who was the central ringleader of this operation here in Lorraine County. He's a Lorraine resident. He was arrested at his home at 1307 West 17th Street. Enid Rojas, same address, was arrested. 2 guys from Elyria, Eric Korn and Bobby Korn, were arrested at 3007 Riverside Drive in Lorraine. Angel Rivera was arrested at 911 West 14th Street, Lorraine. Jonathan Barnett, 19 years old, was arrested at his home at 1815 West 19th Street, Lorraine. And Elizea Claudio was also arrested in Lorraine at 1821 East 35th Street. And again, there's 5 other subjects that have not been arrested. Their pictures are on the board to my right. We've worked this case right before the holidays started, and as a result of the investigation, it was a very complex case. These guys are high-level drug traffickers. They were getting multiple kilos of heroin and cocaine in from out of state, and then breaking it up and selling it here in Lorraine County. As a result of the investigation, as far as drug seizures goes, we seized 435 grams of heroin, 1,020 grams of cocaine, 7 pounds of marijuana, which equate to a street value of approximately $200,000 in street drug seizures. In addition to that, there was another 2 kilos of cocaine that were intercepted through the United States Postal Service. The U.S. Postal Inspectors were instrumental in helping us seize those drugs. So in addition to the large amount of drugs that were seized, We also see 6 handguns and 6 automobiles, 3 motorcycles, 3 ATVs, and over $80,000 in cash. Chris, anything you'd like to add?
Just to go off what Sergeant Wells was saying, again, we worked this month for about 3.5 months. There was a lot of background investigation going on, including myself and Sergeant Welsh. We had a great team between us and Elyria that are also sitting us in this room as well that were very instrumental in putting this case together.
And I'd like to, I'm sure I can speak for Chief Whiteley when I say that the investigators here, obviously you can see if it's 3.5 months, this went through the holidays. These gentlemen lost time with their families. But this was critical that we get this done. These guys are dedicated professionals. The gentlemen sitting up in front of the microphones and some of the gentlemen in the back who spent hours and hours in cars, hours and hours behind cameras, making this case happen. So for myself, my chief, Chief Sal Rivera, and Chief Whiteley, I just like to say I appreciate the effort.
I want to reiterate what Captain Watkins said. Great job by everybody involved. I can tell you that these kind of investigations do not work at convenient times. They're oftentimes up to 20 hours a day, and the officers that work this put in tireless hours to get this done at difficult times. I'm sure covering the holidays and that, where they had to give time with family and that. But the goal was always there. They did a great job. They worked very well together, and the outcome kind of speaks for itself. Just an outstanding job for them.
I think at that time, we would open it up to any questions you guys might have.
Evan McDonald, like Cleveland.com. You said it was coming in from out of state. Do you know where these drugs were coming from?
We believe, well, based on the investigation, it was coming from the west. We believe it was coming from the Chicago area. Obviously filtering into Lorain County. The head of the DTO, drug trafficking organization, being Rafael Esquelin and Hugo Lopez, would basically then get the drugs in and immediately filter it out throughout Lorain County, actually from Lorain County all the way into Cleveland. So that's where that came from.
Katie Nix, Chronicle, Telegram. I was just wondering why Lopez and Pena would have been in Florida. Were they trying to run? Kind of what happened there?
Lopez was actually, he's originally from Florida.
Okay.
He moved back here at roughly like 2008. He was arrested actually back in late 2008 on an investigation we also did here. He spent some time back in Florida and roughly moved back here, I believe around 2012, in the 2012 area. At the beginning of the investigation, Mr. Lopez was residing here in Lorain County, actually in the city of Lorain. As the investigation went on, shortly after Christmas, he moved to Florida. David Pena, being one of his work associates, was also in Lorain, and we had not seen him for the past couple of weeks, and we had suspected that he was in Florida, possibly visiting Mr. Lopez, and the marshal were able to locate him as well at Lopez's residence.
Paul on Channel 5 had a couple of questions, and maybe I missed this. I'm sorry. What's the DTO stand for?
DTO stands for Drug Trafficking Organization.
And it's hard to keep track of, unfortunately, with 9 dead in 2 weeks in the county. Would any of these leaders be associated with any of those deaths?
They weren't arrested. I'm sorry.
Sorry, they're not arrested.
No. You asked. I'm assuming you're asking if these people were related to any of the overdose deaths in Lorain County. Well, when you're bringing in this kind of,
That's going to be good information.
yeah, sorry. Obviously, with the kind of weight and drugs that these guys are bringing in with heroin, they're not dealing it themselves. That's why they isolate themselves, they're high up in these organizations, and they push it out to some of the guys below them who have street dealers. We have made a couple arrests in regards to the overdose deaths. I know, and I can speak for Elyria, we had 15 overdoses last week and 3 deaths attributed to those overdoses. And there were arrests. Now, none of these guys on this board were arrested as a result of supplying that, but I can guarantee you, based on our investigations, that some of the drugs that the street dealers supplied to those that overdosed and died came from these guys.
And then, you mentioned $200,000 in drugs, but then you said the Postal Service had 2 kilos. If you were to add those 2 kilos in, what would be the monetary value?
In addition to $200,000, the 2 kilos, you could probably add another $120,000 on top of that. So you're obviously over $320,000.
Yeah, I mean, and basically how we get those amounts is the price of a kilo of cocaine on the street, it goes anywhere between high 30s to high $40,000 right now. But then that gets cut and expanded so the dealers can make their profits, and it gets sent out and broken up into smaller pieces, and you know, essentially at 40,000 is then either double or triple to what the street value of the drugs that we're estimating them to be.
Rick Pedersen from the Morning Journal. Any guesstimate, you had mentioned about the length of time for the investigation, any guesstimate of how long these guys started working together, how long they were bringing stuff into the county?
Well, we know that the head organization will be Hugo Lopez and Rafael Escalon, been together for quite some time, actually. Like I said, we had knowledge of them back in 2008, 2009, and there was other situations dealing with them back in 2012. Based on this investigation, we kept doing workups and getting intelligence works on them until we were able to get this investigation off the ground and going.
Yeah, the 3 guys from Elyria, Carter, and the 2 Corn brothers, as Chris said, these guys have been dealing drugs in the county probably since the early 2000s. And they're definitely people that, you know, all the guys on this list are people that Lorraine and Elyria Narcotics have targeted. They sell drugs in both cities. You know, people have said it before, drugs have no boundaries, and we're going to continue to align ourselves together and work together to try and keep people like this off the street.
And just to add from Sergeant Wells earlier, these gentlemen on the board are not your corner street dealers. Yeah, we've been aware of them for a while, but it takes time to get high-level drug dealers high-level drug traffickers off the streets, and then that's why it takes, again, 3 to 4 months that we work this investigation to get to this point.
Can somebody just speak to not just the heroin epidemic, but the sad tragedy of so many people dying in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, these drugs affect all walks of life. And right now, we see a lot of it hitting, you know, younger teenager, or people in their late teens, early 20s, you know, in all the affluent suburbs surrounding this area. So yes, I mean, it takes a toll on the families of the victims involved. Obviously, it's one of the reasons that we put so much time, effort, resources into the drug problem is because of how it affects society and obviously the ancillary crimes that occur, not just with the overdoses, but the burglaries, assaults, all that stuff is related to drugs, in my opinion. Hope that answered your question.
Kelsey Laker, the Morning Journal. I just wanted to make sure I understand correctly. It's Hugo Lopez and Rafael Escalon who are the head of this DTO.
They're basically, you could break it down almost in two DTOs. Rafael Escuela and Hugo Lopez were definitely partner up as far as their organization went on. As investigation went on, we were able to basically link Rolanda Carter, who's not in custody right now, Eric Korn, Bobby Korn, as a basically separate DTO. And basically the two DTOs would then come together. Rafael Escuela and Hugo Lopez basically get the drugs in, filter it out, and then obviously Rolanda Carter and Bobby Korn, Eric Korn, would then be supplied, and then they would just expand to their own organization as far as filtering out drugs.
Okay, so they were more like partners than really, I guess, handling one DTO. It was two that were kind of
Correct.
working together.
Yes.
Okay.
Just in terms of status, we see a lot of the guys from the city jail list, are they going out to the county, and then procedurally, are they under indictment, or this is, because it does make reference to the grand jury and the news release.
Right now,
the status on guys.
Right now, there's obviously 9 that have been arrested. They all been arraigned. This morning, I can't remember the date. They were arraigned yesterday morning. They're all, as of right now, the 9 that have been arrested all have a $1 million bond. They will all have a prelim hearing within the next week.
After that happens, it'll be sent over to the grand jury.
What's the maximum sentence that they can get for something like this?
Well, the minimum sentence, I can tell you that, is 11 years.
Okay.
Based on the weight of the drugs involved and the seriousness of the crime.
And the conspiracy itself.
Any arrest operations, any incidents, I mean, guys go quietly, or anybody putting up a fight, or any?
We again, the two units together, along with our SWAT team, Lear SWAT team and Lorraine SWAT team, we did 5 search warrants basically at the same time at 5 different locations. Based on speaking with the supervisor for each SWAT team, everything went off perfect the way it was planned out to be. We had no incidents with the people that we took in custody as well.
I'd just like to mention a couple other agencies that were involved here, just to give them a little credit, because they were big assistance to us. Lorraine County Crime Lab is instrumental whenever we send our drugs over and we need results quickly. So a lot of these drugs that we're getting in these days, we don't have the test kits to determine what they are, especially with fentanyl. And they're very helpful in getting the results back on those drugs to us, so we can develop probable cause quickly. In addition, Lorraine County Prosecutor's Office was instrumental in helping us write different search warrants and throughout the case, answering any questions and with the arrest warrants as well. And again, as Captain Watkins stated, the Mike DeWine's office, the office of the Ohio Attorney General, has a heroin unit, and they were instrumental in providing us with equipment and resources to make this case successful.
Due to a previous engagement, the representative from that office was not able to attend, but the quote from Mr. DeWine's office is on the bottom of the press release.
What would you guys say is the most difficult part of, coordinating an investigation like this? Obviously, other than the amount of time that goes into it, that was a lot of agencies that were working together to make all of those arrests happen at the same exact time. So what's the most difficult part of that?
Lucky for us, this is not our first time doing this. Not to say that it gets easier every time, but we do have the experience in these types of cases, so that does help a lot. Again, there's other gentlemen in this room that have spent time and have done these cases in the past, so we're able to work well with each other. Again, with the experience with our SWAT team, Lorraine SWAT team, and I know there's SRT team, it's helpful that you have experienced guys that have done this before.
You said this isn't your first time doing it. How does this compare to previous busts in terms of that you've worked on together in terms of size and scope?
I mean, O'Leary and Lorraine have worked together on 3 major drug investigations in the last 2 years, and I think they all have been equally successful in terms of arrest and narcotic seize. I think this one ranks up there with the Burns and Milne investigation as well as the Wayne Norris investigation.
What about the 5 people that have yet to be arrested? Are there any warrants out, or I guess what's the status of those?
There are warrants out for them, and we also been contacted by a couple attorneys that they're possibly getting ready to turn themselves in. So we're waiting to see if that happens. And if not, then obviously we do have teams out there that will be actively looking for them.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up too. Obviously, we're asking the public for help. Obviously, these are local people. There's people out there that know who these 5 are, and I'll just read out their names real quickly. Rolando Carter, Carlos, Raul Lopez, Felix Guzman, Sherman Ward, and Eric Velasquez Cosby. These are all Elyria Lorain guys, so if anybody has information, you can contact Lorain Narcotics Bureau or Elyria Police and Narcotics Bureau with any tips or whereabouts of these people.
There's sort of a nuts and bolts detail in the service of the warrants apart from the 2 guys that were in Florida, with the location of the other 7 guys that were arrested, there's 5 different addresses where the warrants were executed.
The 5 search warrants that we executed with 1307 West 17th Street was one of the residents. 911 West 14th Street was one of the residents. 3007 Riverside, and 335 Brace in Elyria. And we also did one at 1815 West 19th Street.
Just to clarify that, 335, you said what was the name?
Brace Street in Elyria.
Okay. And then with Claudio, if he was arrested at 821 East 35th, was that just, there was no warrant, or just an arrest warrant for him to show up?
Those arrest warrant, after we executed search warrants, we did have arrest teams out there, and that's where they located him at.
So the Brace Street, I don't see that one actually on the list. Did that not yield any?
There was small contraband seized from that place,
Okay,
but no arrests.
no arrest. Okay.
That was a home that was utilized by Bobby Alcorn.
You guys good?
I guess is there a breakdown on, with all the drugs that were seized and the money and the guns, any all in one spot or just sporadic or any?
This was
Can you describe
everything.
how it was done?
Everything that we listed is basically between the 5 houses.
One of those guns was stolen out of Lorain.
Will there be additional charges for that?
Yes.
Anything else?
With any of the evidence, obviously there's some pictures up on the signboard. Any chance we can get any footage or pictures with it here?
We decided to go ahead and put the photographs up instead of actual. We got I don't want to deal with too many evidence problems, and you know how attorneys can get when it. So we'd rather just go ahead and show you the picture. We got some decent pictures up there for the media.
Can we get digital copies of these mugshots and images?
Actually, everything that I have, or we have that is on that board as far as what's in your media release, yeah, we can email it if necessary.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Yes.
email copies of the photos and stuff.
Yes.
Maybe afterwards get his email address. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris.
Double check name titles.
James Welsh, WLSH.
And the first name is James?
Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and cut this off now. Thank you for tuning in, and we definitely appreciate all of you for checking out the live feed. Have a good day.